Hello, welcome to today's lesson. In this lecture, we will look at this method of evaluating materials, thanks to which we can make the best use of the already available materials to maximize the effectiveness of teaching and studying. Firstly, let's look at this definition of materials evaluation. What is material evaluation? I guess you all know the answer, right? The definition is pretty simple. Evaluation is basically a matching process of matching needs with the available solutions. In short, it is selecting from existing materials. With such an array of commercial textbooks and other kinds of instructional materials to choose from, teachers and the others responsible for choosing materials need to be able to make informed judgments about textbook and teaching materials. Evaluation, however, can only be done by considering something in relation to its purpose. A book may be ideal in one situation because it matches the needs of that situation perfectly. It has just the right amount of material for the program. It is easy to teach. It can be used with little preparation by an inexperienced teacher. And it has an equal coverage of grammar and the 4 skills. The same book in a different situation, however, may turn out to be quite unsuitable. It may contain too little material. It is not sufficiently challenging for the teacher and the students, and has many elements in it that are not needed in the program. Therefore, it is necessary for us to fully understand the material to decide whether it is suitable for our course or not. Now, the question is, what types of materials are there for ESL students? The step of material evaluation can happen before or after the teaching, or both. The before program evaluation is necessary in order to choose appropriate materials for learners and identify aspects to adapt. To do so, course designers usually need a set of criteria to decide which book is appropriate for the course and therefore should be chosen, and how to adapt the book to make the best use of it. It should be noted that the type of evaluation used for a textbook will also reflect the concerns of evaluation. One teacher may look at a book in terms of its usability. The teacher is primarily interested in whether the book works easily in her class, can be used flexibly, or could be easily adapted. Another teacher may look at a book much more critically in terms of its theoretical orientation and approach. If it is a book that teaches conversation skill, what theory of conversation it is based on? What kind of syllabus is it based on? And what is the validity of the activities that it makes use of? Two teachers evaluating a writing text may look at it from very different perspectives. Next, you will see some commonly used checklists and guidelines for materials evaluation. Firstly, let's have a look at a checklist by McDonough and Shore in 1993. For external evaluation, course designers need to pay attention to the following factors: claims made on the cover, introduction and table of contents. This step is crucial as it gives us information about the target audience, the level of the material, and the context it is used in. We also need to look at the way language is organized in the book, as well as writer's view on language and methodology. Meanwhile, internal evaluation is an in-depth look at some units. Course designers need to investigate presentation of skills, grading, and sequencing of materials, kinds of text used, and the relationship between the exercise and test. On the other hand, according to Skieso in 1991, there are 3 steps in the process of material evaluation. First, it is identifying information relevant to students, teachers, syllabus, and institution. In other words, course designers need to understand characteristics of all factors that are involved in the process of learning. Secondly, it is the stage of analyzing features of textbook, then overall rating text. Finally, course designers have to care about the actual judging of the acceptability of textbook, including rating and weighting specific evaluative criteria. Speaking of criteria, I would like to introduce to you the evaluating criteria by Cunningsworth in 1995. Here are some of the important points that need to be taken into consideration. First, materials should correspond to learners' needs. They should match the aims of the programs. It means that when choosing materials for the course, we always need to ask ourselves questions such as, is this material appropriate for students' level? Does the material suit the learning styles? Or will this help them achieve the course outcomes? Next, materials should reflect the uses, whether present or future, of the learners. They should facilitate learners' learning processes without dogmatically imposing a rigid method. At the same time, they should have a clear role as support for learning. Like teachers, materials mediate between target language and the learners. Course designers may need to look at the sequencing of activities and the types of text in the materials to see if the book, for example, provides effective scaffolding or not. Based on those criteria, Cunningsworth presents a checklist for textbook evaluation and selection organized under the following categories: aims and approaches, design and organization, language content, skills, topic, methodology, teacher's book, and practical consideration. Now let's have a look at Hutchinson and Walter's model in 1987 for material evaluation. As you can see, the first step is to define criteria or to determine what you will base on to judge materials, and among all the criteria, which one is more important and should be prioritized. Next comes the subjective and objective analysis. Subjective analysis involves the analysis of your own course, especially in terms of material requirements. In order to do that, you need to understand learners' needs as well as the objectives of the course. Together with the subjective analysis is the objective analysis, which is the interpretation of materials being evaluated. In other words, in this step, we need to fully understand the features of materials, like the level or the teaching methodology of the writer. Finally, we come to the last step of matching. In this part, we will see if materials meet the requirements of the course, and if the answer is yes, then to what extent do materials satisfy the course requirements? Here are some criteria for material evaluation by Hutchinson and Waters that involve the audience, aims, content, methodology. Now, Let's analyze this table to further understand the second stage in Hutchinson and Walter's model. The table shows a brief comparison between subjective and objective analysis with reference to the four aforementioned criteria. Firstly, regarding the audience, course designers, when doing subjective analysis, need to understand who the learners are. For objective analysis, questions like "Who is the material intended for?" should be asked. Secondly, we need to identify the aims of the course and compare those with the aim of the materials. Regarding the content analysis, course designers need to pay attention to the language points that should be covered in the course, which can be found out with subjective analysis, and compare them with language points that the materials cover. For subjective analysis, course designers should determine what text types should be included in the course, how the content should be organized throughout the course, and how the content should be sequenced throughout the course. In contrast, while carrying out objective analysis, we should look at the kinds of text in the materials, how the content is organized in the materials, and the way it is sequenced throughout the book. Lastly, we also look at the methodology criterion. Subjective analysis gives us information about the kinds of exercises and tasks that are needed in the course, while objective analysis lets us know the kinds of exercises included in the materials. At the same time, we also carry out subjective analysis to understand the teaching learning techniques that are to be used in the course, as well as the guidance or support for the teaching that will be needed in the course. Meanwhile, with objective analysis, we can know the teaching learning techniques that can be used with the materials and the guidance that the material provide. In short, subjective analysis and objective analysis should be done at the same time, with constant comparison throughout the process of material evaluation. For further information regarding material evaluation and different approaches towards the process, you may go online and search for the names below: Bernard and Randall, Ellis, Mikely, Sheldon, Stan et al. This is the end of this lesson about material evaluation. In today's lesson, we have learned some different guidelines and checklists for evaluating materials. Thank you so much for your attention and hope you had a good time. Thank you and see you again in the upcoming videos.